it's really important to be visible as a writer now, and that's just the reality. And I'll give you a quick example. I almost didn't record this today because I have a cut on my head from a losing battle with the tree branch, and it's not the best look. And so I kind of wanted to wait, but then I realized that's kind of the point. Being visible isn't about looking perfect. It's about showing up. And I think there was a time as a writer, as an author, you could be invisible. You could write the great book, hand it off, and let the work speak for itself. And I think in 2026, that time is over. Now, writing a great book is the minimum thing a writer has to do. It gets you in the room, but it doesn't build a career. If no one knows you exist, then pretty much your book doesn't exist, because publishing runs on relationships. Readers follow voices they recognize. I know as a reader, I am like that for sure. Now we're in a world where content is just everywhere, and you don't know if somebody's voice is even AI or if it's real. So I think what stands out isn't just the writing behind an author's voice, it's the person behind it. And I think this is where a lot of writers get stuck. I think they hear that and think what they need to do is be louder or everywhere or constantly performing and following all the social media trends. And I don't think that's true. I don't think you have to do any of those things. You don't need to go viral. I think you just need to be recognizable. And those are two very different things. You know, I feel like as writers, we're always chasing numbers, whether it's book sales or followers or views or reach of some sort. And it's easy to think that there's going to be a moment where everything's going to change. And that's really not that true. You can go viral on social media and still have no one caring about the books you wrote, or no one who remembers you, and no one who comes back to see more. And we see evidence of that all the time. Because what being viral doesn't do is it doesn't really build a connection. It creates a moment, and then that moment is gone. And you chase trying to recreate that moment, and it almost never happens. What builds a career, I think, is being seen authentically enough times that people remember you. Someone sees your name and think, oh, I know him. He talks a lot about writing craft. I've seen his stuff before. And I think that's the shift, having that thing. And part of it is also that readers don't just connect to books. They want to connect to the people. They want to connect to the personality. They want to know who is the person behind these words. Is it even a real person? Is now a not uncommon question. And they want to know who you are. And that doesn't mean they need to know everything, not your entire life, but enough to feel like there's a real person behind the work. And it's not about performing. It's just about showing up as yourself. And that means sharing, I think, parts of your life that you're comfortable sharing. The way you think, the things you notice, how you approach your craft, what you care about. Because the thing that I've come to realize over the last year or so that I can't shake is the fact that in this digital world, the future currency is going to be your presence. That's what people connect to. That's what people are going to be remembering, is who you are, your face, your energy. You don't need to impress people. I think you just want to be remembered. If you've been posting for months and months and months and nothing's happening, it's probably not because you're not talented. It's because no one can remember you yet. That's a different problem, and it's fixable. You start simple. Pick one or two social media accounts that you don't hate. Somewhere where you can show up without it draining you. You don't have to do everything. And then just talk about the same core ideas that you believe in, that are true to who you are, not only as a writer, but as a person, the same themes. And I think that's how people start to recognize you. Not because you said something once and most people didn't even notice, but because they've seen it from you before. For me, I talk about writing, the process, the struggle, the psychology behind it, and not because I planned it that way. It wasn't a great master plan that I had to do this. It's just because it's interesting to me and I'm a little bit fascinated with it and I keep showing up and talking about it. And over time, I think that becomes the association. I have writers who tell me, hey, thanks for all you do for the writing community. And that's a great affirmation that, hey, I am out there talking about the thing that's interesting to me, which is the craft and the psychology of writing. And if you do that, when your book comes out, you're not starting from zero. And that's the goal. You don't need millions of views. You just need the right people seeing you enough time that they remember you, and maybe they talk about you. Maybe they're interested enough to pick up your book. And because you've written that great book, they start to share it with other people. So if visibility to you as a writer feels overwhelming, stop thinking about it as exposure. Think about it as just recognition. You don't need to go viral. At the end of the day, I think you just need to be recognizable.